Hey middle schoolers, welcome to our science video. I have a question for you. Do you like using pepper in your food? I know that I do. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different and take pepper out of the kitchen and into the classroom for an experiment that I think you guys are going to find pretty interesting. So last week, we were talking about water and the different properties it can take on. It can take on the form of a liquid, of a gas, of a solid. And today, we're going to kind of continue our discussion about water. We're going to talk about water in the liquid form, and we're going to introduce a new concept called surface tension. And the experiment that we're going to do is kind of going to break down, quite literally, and help you guys understand this concept of surface tension. Okay, so to do the experiment, we will need some materials, and as I previously mentioned, one of them is pepper. So we got our pepper. Next, we'll need a bowl. So I just have a glass bowl here. It can be any bowl. I'm just using glass so you guys can see it a little bit better. Next, we will need a cup of water. So I have a cup filled with water. And then last but not least, we need some soap. So I just have some basic dish soap from my kitchen. All right, so let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is take our cup of water in our bowl, and we're just going to fill the bowl with water, like so. Perfect. Okay. Next, we're going to take our pepper, and we're just going to sprinkle it over the water, just kind of so it fills the surface. Not too much, but we want it to be able to see it, so put enough so you can see. Don't sneeze. All right, and I'll show you guys up close in a second. Cool. So you guys can kind of see here, it should look a little something like that. All right, so let's pause here and kind of make some observations about what's going on. So what can we see? What can we observe? Is the pepper floating? Is it sinking? Is it dissolving? What's happening? Well, I can see that the pepper is floating on top of the surface of the water. But why does this happen? Well, pepper is hydrophobic, which means that water is not attracted to it. We kind of hear this said about water and oil. They don't go together. They don't mix. They just don't go together. So pepper kind of has the same property. So because of this, the pepper does not dissolve in the water. But our question remains, how is it floating on top? Well, this is where surface tension comes into play. So water molecules in the bowl right now are packed together really tightly all throughout the bowl. And at the top, they kind of form this thin layer, kind of picture like a thin elastic layer. And this is our surface tension. So surface tension is essentially when the liquid acts as like a thin sheet. So nothing can break through it. So that's why our pepper is sitting on top. That along with the hydrophobic property of the pepper. All right, well, let's see if we can maybe somehow break through the surface. How do you guys think we should go about doing that? Well, I think maybe I can try and use my hands. What do you think would happen if I just kind of poke my finger into the bowl of water? Do you think that I can crack the surface? What do you think might happen? Well, let's test it out. All right, so I'm just going to take my finger, have nothing on it. I'm just going to kind of poke it into the bowl. All right, nothing's happening. Well, why don't we try using our soap? Maybe if we put some soap on our finger, we'll have some more success. So I'm going to open my soap, and there's a bubble. All right, I'm just going to put a tiny dot of soap on my finger. Not a lot at all. All right, so I got that. You can kind of see it. I don't want it to drip. And now I'm going to take my bowl, and I'm going to bring it closer so you guys can see, and I'm going to touch my soapy finger to the surface of the water. What do you guys think will happen? Let's find out. Ready? Ooh, do you see that? The pepper kind of split apart. I think we broke the surface of the water. So, why do you think that happened? Do you think that there is some type of reaction maybe occurring between the pepper and the soap? Well, I'm here to tell you, no, there is no reaction. But then why did the pepper spread to the sides of the bowl when we touched it? Well, here's your answer. Soap here has the ability to break down the surface tension of water, and that's part of why soap is, well, soap, and why it's such a good substance to use for cleaning. So when soap touches the surface of the water, the surface tension changes, and the pepper no longer is floating on top. If I hold this up closer, you guys can kind of see that the pepper is no longer on top. It's kind of floating all within the bowl. You can see it, there's some on the bottom, some in the middle, it's just kind of everywhere. So when I touched my finger with soap on it to the surface of the water, those water molecules that were once packed together really tightly, they really wanted to stay together. But they pulled away from the soap and they brought the pepper with it. So when the soap comes in contact with the water, it lowers the potency of the surface tension. And this means that the water molecules that were once held together really tightly are coming apart and getting looser and looser. And this is why soap makes it easy for you to wash dishes, maybe they have grease on them, or when you wash your hands to get germs off of them, it kind of breaks down that surface and kind of gets in there. So that is our experiment for the day. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I do have some open-ended questions for you guys to kind of ponder. What do you think would happen if we tried the same exact experiment, but instead of using pepper, we replaced the pepper with something different? So I want you to think about what would happen if we used oil in the water. Remember, we kind of mentioned oil back in the beginning of the video? What would happen if we used oil, or what would happen if we used hairspray on the surface of the water? What do you think? So think about those questions, and we will discuss them next week. All right, have a great day, guys.